Any more questions for this session? So we can go to Captain Andrey's presentation.
Okay, gents, so that's so happens I'm the last one, so I really appreciate your patience. So that's your rest hours a little bit already violated, so we are delaying a little bit, and it's somehow looks like quite accidentally happened. So that's my presentation. I was actually not aware of much content what happened. So that's, but my presentation is somehow looks like a kind of summarization of everything we are talking today. Rather than so presenting the isolated case, so that I try to highlight the quite common issues we are facing during STS. Your presence here, so that's, I heard like over 200 people was registered for this forum, so it's indicating the real interest and real need of industry, so to have these issues to be highlighted, discussed, solved, improved somehow in a way. And I wish to express my extreme thanks, and I believe everyone will join, so this to DYNAMARINE for their fantastic job, and is basically for the arranging this event, allowing us to voice up. Yes, indeed, we cannot change many things here, but voicing up, highlighting the issues, we basically attracting the industry attention to the point, so that's we need some changes here, so that we need certain improvement, and it's definitely so that there is a benefit of this thing. So that's oops. Okay. It's gone completely. No, no way. Okay. Okay. We basically, so that's, I have a lot of slides here, so that's not a lot, but, and the majority of this information somehow in the same form or close one, so has been actually already highlighted. So we all facing, so that's the increase of role of STS in the industry. So this is basically the location, well-known chart from DYNAMARINE, so that's indicating the location of various STS locations around the world, is basically showing that the trend is growing up. So this one example of our company, so this we are not the largest STS users. However, so this is indicating that we have a lot of growing activities involving STS of the ship. So this, and this is just, we did the screenings, so that's in 2015 only 70. So that's 2016 is already 110, 165. So that's, and basically, so that's just in last 2 years. So this is like 150. So of STS. So that's taken, so this first 4 years, we did like maybe 40 STS. So this was like, for us, it's just like very rare occasion. But suddenly, so that's their number is start quite considerably growing up, and it is increasing. So that's basically even the number of tokens we used in DYNAMARINE, so that we are start buying the bigger packages. So that's for us is cheaper. So that's industry is very well regulated. So in terms of STS, we all will well know requirements of MARPOL conventions. I'm not going to stop too much on it because we discussed it. So that's, and we are quite well known the requirements and content of Chapter 8 of MARPOL. So that's regulations 40, 41, 42 related to the requirement of MARPOL. So that's if we come back, so that's on let's say general requirements and basically notification procedure. We also has industry requirements. So this industry also gives some recommendations. So then basically it's also quite unique document. So this STS guide, so this we discussed a lot about it. So STS guide is has been done jointly by ICMF, CDI, ICS, and CIRCTO. So this is basically one of the rare occasions when major players of industry recommendations, so this is combine, so that's and come something with nice, good guidelines, so that's helping us have a proper rules, regulations in our SMS, so for our guys. So we have clearly all these requirements and indications, so that's which is basically we have requirements for POSC qualification, which is again well known, so that's coming from IFSTS guide, so that's the same covered by MARPOL. So, but we all like this word. I'm joined to Steven, so that's in this one, so that's due diligence. What is due diligence? Is basically, it's consisting of compliance with requirements, expertise, experience, information resources, past STS records assessments, understanding of liabilities, exposure to supporting reputation, and risk mitigating actions. It's basically so that we have rules, regulations, requirements, everything. So, but how we basically so that can make sure about it. So that we're basically executing due diligence. So, and we expecting the same to be executed on all parties involved in the STS operations. Just giving a very brief examples how we basically facing in reality. So we, as a ship managers, trying to play the most proactive role most of the time. So that's compliance with requirements. We had a case, so that's when vessel has been proposed for STS, but on the screening stage, provided that STS plan of proposed vessel was basically not approved by administration, and moreover, so that there is no subsequent notation in our PP certificate. And the vessel has been rejected. So that we say, sorry guys, it's not. And basically, response from charters was like, sorry, we did with that vessel many operations. What is the issue? We say, sorry guys, but this is a MARPOL requirement. And basically, so that if we proceed with that particular vessel, we'll be in a violation of MARPOL. So, and we honestly, so that's being a good player of the shipping industry, so that we say we are not. We had a lot of pressure, so that we had a lot of discussions, conference calls and so on with the charters, and they say, but we still don't see the issue. So and we have to explain, so that's how the issue may affect their reputation, and they also has to execute due diligence, so that's on this one. Some statistic, so that's just showing, so that's we got like it's just for 2017. So we got we provide actually so there's 74 assessments given to the parties. So that's basically to the vessels involved with our STS operations. So in totally, so that's from 2011 to end of 2017, basically. So that's it's 186. But the number of assessments received for our side, so this is only 14. So basically, looks like participating vessels are not really interesting, so that's to provide us feedback how good we are. We need to know that one, so that's in order to improve, to get better. So it's a main factor of the feedback. So that's, and basically, so that's in percentage, so that's we are more or less, is actually, so that's the performance is good. We're providing mostly very positive feedback. So this, we don't have many issues during STS, thanks God, touch wood. So, but having this one, so that's on, it's not really clearly seen, so that's, but percentage in industry and what we're getting, so this is basically quite the same. We're basically getting only about 10% of the operations feeded back, so that's assessed and actually allowing us to build up the proper database to understand how's the performance of the ship during STS. I don't see the reason why not, because basically KPIs, so this is like 100%. So this, we never get anything negative on our side, which indicates us as good guys. But I was 100% sure about that one, because we wanted to see so that's the feedback coming back to us. And here is a question. How we share the experience? information resources, and past STS records assessments. This is execution of due diligence, which is important for everyone in the industry, everyone involved in STS operations. So, basically, the next important part of STS, POG, POIC, so that's whenever, assessment provided by BSM fleet. We did BSM CY. In BSM, globally, we have much more because we operate in 8 offices around the world, so that's, and definitely we had much more STS operations as globally, but taking only the Cyprus. So it's 104 STS. Only 4 POIC has been rated averagely, so this is not actually bad, average. So this, we have issues. So performance, so that's what we're providing. So this is quite similar to the industry benchmarking figures. So this averagely, so this, if you can see, so this annual, so it's around 99% of positive assessments of POIC. So it means the guys are doing a very good job. So that's the guys, persons in overall advisory control of the STS operations doing the job very well. So, but the role of POIC is extremely important. So that's, he should be qualified. Okay, POIC can be qualified, can not only external guy, it can be a master of one of the ships. So let's say in West Africa, it's quite often, there is no POIC, so that's duties executed by the masters of continuously working on that STS operations. So, and if, let's say, the qualification experience of POIC, so that is not really, how to say, well, so that we can easily face in, boom, issues, which is normally low speed, so okay, damages are relatively minor, but taking in consideration locations and so on, the consequence and the most important reputational loss can be huge. So, on a POC assessment, so that's, we're facing the issues. Difficulties in receiving information regarding POC assessment. So it's declining of provided required information about POC qualification. So, qualification and experience of POC, it's not always happened. This is a case, a real case, so that's a little bit, so that's, we have a request of POC qualification from one of the STS provider, and it's basically, it has been declined to provide any information apart of the POC name. So, and we got the response. This is a letter in line with this STS provider company policy, which regulated provision information to third parties and confidential data protection, has no obligation on any contractual requirement to maintain dialogue to complete documents provided by manager. So that's, I mean, so that's we're requesting the POC assessment form, so to be completed to verify qualification of the POC. So, and basically the guys is declining. So that's, to us, it's a little bit strange to see. So that's that kind of attitude and approach of STS provider, providing that averagely, so that's POC assessments is very, very positive. The guy's doing a good job. So that's, we never had actually the issue with that provider. So that's with their POCs. However, so the new revision of VIQ, which is hopefully will come in force, it's basically, so that's a little bit, okay, at the moment, so that's, we had before, again, this question, so that's how the SIRE, so that how ICMF is basically highlighting the issue with STS. So there is a couple of questions in current VIQ where they're asking, so that if STS operations conducted nicely, safely, and blah, blah, blah. So this, and giving the very little comments for the actually what it means. So that's guidance notes for the inspector. So it's very, very limited. So that's, and the new revision, which is currently under revision of VIQ, so that's why I saw it. So being a little bit in how to say, involved into the revision of this one. It's the first time, so ICMF and CDI basically, so coming and providing the VIQ, they're asking feedback of industry. So that's, and we received it in Intertanko, we received it in CDI. So to provide the our opinion, our thoughts, our concerns, and it has been taken on board. The new things here, POIC, have the necessary qualification and expertise, and are the officers aware of the requirements? So we have the clear, like 10 points, bullet points, and STS guidelines, so that we will list back a little bit to the slides to see, so that we have to verify that the POG has a valid certified license officer, navigate the ship. He has a specific ship's handling course appropriate to the size of the ships. He knows location, he knows experience. And so that's basically, prior taking this operation, we, as operators, has to be verified in it. So that we have to assure this one. Having the negative approach from the guys hiding the information about qualification is basically taking quite negative impact to us. I mean, looks like they're part of STS operation and they're not executing due diligence for this one. So, again, so that's the same thing. So this is actually, so that's a continuation of Captain George. So that's the photo of the hose lineup. So that's how it's basically happening. So that's if you have hose, it's exactly multi-location. So that's, and basically here it's a clear human element playing the role. The joint assessment, everything was done perfectly. So this, we did the risk assessment, STS plan, so this, we reviewed part A, B, C, so this, everything was good. Qualification of POC is nice, so this, everything was smooth. But we are unlucky, so that's, that particular place, it was May 2015. So that's when there, if you remember from the Captain George presentation, I didn't know that one, so this, it's very unusual rapid development of the swell and caused by very strong wind, exceeding 40 knots. So that's, and in particular case, so that's knowing and even agreed, so that's that stoppage should be at 35 knots and the disconnection, it should be, if wind is exceeding 40 knots. Boss master and POG sitting on the bridge, monitoring this one, so that they had a serious concerns, so that's, well, what to do? They nearly complete STS operation. They nearly finish discharging. So, and sudden increasing of wind and pressure, so this, until the ropes start parting. And that particular moment, so this, they had a commercial pressure to complete as fast as possible because the forecast was bad. So, and they having, oh yes, please, 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 speed up, speed up, speed up, and they think, oh, okay, we'll be okay, we'll be okay. So it happened. So that's basically ropes start parting, guys running quickly to manifold. There was a tools for quick disconnection, but they are not quick enough to disconnect 12 bolts. And so this is basically resulting damage to cargo hose, damage to vessel manifold, breaking like 8 or 10 ropes. But the key point, okay, so this, thanks God, so that's, they managed to stop and basically blown up the lines and no pollution happened. So that's in this particular case. So, okay, so this, I basically quickly passing through the, so that's, we have a very few complaints, so that's raised during during our STS. It's basically mostly related, so that's, it's since 2011. So we basically has like a broken lines, equipment failure, mostly fenders, and fendering, so this is a quite important thing, so that's here, so that's, it has been highlighted by the guys. This STS equipment, so that's, it's important role, so that's, and providing the proper one, so that's the difficulties in receiving information regarding equipment. We have a big issue, so that's, charters is not really willing to share. Like a pneumatic valve test, why you need it? So that's, cargo hoses has been tested 6 years ago, last time, so that's, so why you need a fresh one? So that's, and okay, there's an extreme example, so that's, okay, so that's just to show, it's not really, so that's, but instead of fenders, having tires, so that's, it's obviously, so that's, will lead to the, some damage, it's actually bulker, so that's a different story, but anyway. I will basically, so that's, skip a few more slides, so it's relating to charter obligations, which was very well highlighted by Steven, so that's in his presentation. I'm not going to stop and make it something, I'm not a lawyer, so regretfully probably. So, and I basically saw this, but the requirements of the clauses into the charter parties, so that is basically how to say, so this can help a lot, so this to us to execute due diligence and forcing charters to do the same. You will get the presentations and you will see it later on so that you can read it. So that's, and so I skipped the slides for the, but coming to conclusions, so that's, we all agreed, so the ships to ship are very well regulated. So that's, every party involved is very well aware of requirements. But execution of due diligence is required to be enforced. Charter obligations in terms of timely notification, information flow, so that must be enforced. So this verification of POC qualification tools can be discussed further by industry. We probably, so this can, should establish a kind of certification for the people executing the role of POC, because it's okay, it's the same like a pilot. So that's, I mean, not exactly the same, it's more complicated because they're also executing cargo side issues, so they're doing a lot of jobs, so this could be a specific certification. So that's development of standards and practices for personal transfer by basket. We have a huge issue here, so this industry. We have all wide range of the baskets, so perfectly here, so this, but have very few cranes certified for the personal transfer, which is very important. Okay, so this, we are still forcing, and again, I fully agree with some guys here, so that's discussing on the fields of the forum, so that's, yes, I prefer to use a basket rather than uncertified cranes and certified, so it's more safe. I fully agree with it. So, but how we do it, so that's, where is the industry guideline on it? So we're developing kind of procedures, standards, and things, so that's, which is definitely need to be, again, addressed by industry. So, and basically, so that's, I, one more time, wish to say many thanks to all of you, so that's, to raise in a very valid points today during the presentation, so that's, and it's, I was really enjoying it myself, so that's, and I hope so that we can together develop something better and fill up the gaps, so that we are facing on these particular issues on STS. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And with regards to the questions, I see that we have a couple already from the floor. STS operation with tankers 16 years old without CAP certification based on due diligence will be conducted. It's your personal...
It is a very much dependable. Okay, first of all, thanks to DYNAMARINE, so this, with their assistance, we developed a clear guideline. So this actually, we had like a automated risk matrix, so this on the first case. So when we basically, it's very much depends. If it is a single hull, double hull, so that's if it is a certain age of the ship, if it is having recent vetting inspection of port side control, so that's if the port side control, if any issues highlighted there, so there is so many factors there, so that's basically taken in consideration. By automatic screening provided by DYNAMARINE, so that's giving us highlighting if any issues there, so that's which is allowing us just to speed up the STS screening. When it comes to yellow or red, especially red zone, so we straight away, so let's start looking more detailed, so that's into the into the issues. So basically, so that's to me, so that's indication, so that's, let's say 16 years old is not that old. So that's, I mean, it's most probably double hull vessel. So that's without CAP certification, it's triggered some concerns because basically, why not? So what is actually hiding behind? So, but due diligence is, it's very much depends on many factors, so it's difficult to say, and we are assessing every case by case, so this deciding. We had a lot of pressure from charters. We need, let's say, they give us a bunch of the vessel to screen in order to fix the cargo. So we understand this one. We are, our main goal to satisfy customers, so that's our owners, to earn them money. So that's why we are ship managers.
But basically, you are saying in the first question that there is no easy yes or no answer.
There is no,
Yes.
and each particular case, if let's say, so it's even without Capt certification, but having a perfect history on port control, having executing good reputable companies, so that we're knowing that they have good standards and so on. So it's many factors can contribute to the positive risk assessment.
I find very interesting the last one. In your opinion, actually, it's my own question a little bit. In your opinion, what's suggested for state authorities to improve better controls over POSC, or is it as a dark area to sail? And I may add to this, gentlemen's or ladies, thinking that I personally consider the fact of STS to be a regulatory gap. We all seem to operate on the basis of OCMF guidelines, which is really a commercial standard, and you can have parties that can adhere to them to varying degrees, but as far as regulations and port control involvement is a little bit, but please, your opinion.
Honestly saying, so that's, okay, we well know, so that's all big international bodies, I mean, non-commercial, non-profitable organizations in our industry, like Intertank or ICMF, they all are appearing from, how to say, having some like group of the same direction thinking people, so we're thinking, oh, okay, it could be a good idea. And then they start building up, so this. And honestly, so that's, there is a lot of, how to say, ideas appearing like, okay, so this, we need to do something about, okay, let's implement, so we need the guy to control this one. They recommended to have POG, so that's, idea was basically try to, there is no specific person, there is no institute or academies to train them, so this.
Correct.
And basically, so this, to my point of view, is definitely to be regulated. We basically requiring master to be fully approved in accordance with STCW convention. So that's, any pilot cannot navigate pilot without proper certification, training, courses, and so on. Here, we are relying on this response, let's say, so that's I given as example of STS provider, that we're a reputable company, so, and we are executing due diligence. By some reason, I have to trust them by word, so that I have no other options. So that's, okay, they're assuring so that they execute due diligence. I have no controls, so that's basically so that's to force them, so we'll, to verify. I believe, yes, we need to address this issue to the statutory level. So, and basically, it could be similar to the pilots. So that's certification and common qualification of POSCs.
Yeah, I agree.
Courses, whenever, based on experience. Yeah. I don't believe it will be very dark area. It wouldn't be that difficult. Guys are qualified, they are certified, so this might be certain courses, and that's it.
Thank you. And if we don't have any other questions, I think we can wrap up. I think in this last panel, we try to give you a perspective of one more last, okay.
I just have a comment, Karen Kokabi. I would like to thank all the speakers for the wonderful, colorful, and informative presentations that they made, because I'm going to leave here today as if I've received a diploma in STS operations. Even though I knew a lot about operations, I felt like I didn't know anything after listening to all the speakers today. And I just wanted to thank everybody and give a hand to shake to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think precisely that was the point of Alexandros organizing this kind of event, make everybody wiser about a very high-risk operation that with a lot at stake. So thank you, everybody, for your attention. Thank you, DYNAMARINE. The floor goes to Alexandros for the closing comments.
1 minute.